City of Stevens Point Deer Management Committee meeting, recorded August 1st, 2023.
All right, so let's call the August 1st, 2023 Deer Management Committee meeting to order. I think while we have a quorum and we're missing the new gentleman, what was his name? I forget.
John's here.
Oh, he is. Okay. He is. All right. We have a full quorum then. All right. So item number 1, approval of the Deer Management Committee meetings from June 15th, 2023. Any questions or comments? If not, could I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
A second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those
Aye.
opposed? All right, motion carries. Item number 2, approval of the awarding of the 2023-24 deer culling contract to Ryan Van Gwyck and Scales and Tails Guide Service LLC. So Dan and I interviewed, what did you say, Dan? 5 people, 6 people, and we had over a dozen people send requests in, bids.
Yep. So so the committee wants to know there was 15 individual submittals. There was out of those 15, there was several that were just individuals that like to hunt. So we kind of, John and I vetted them essentially as we kind of looked through the supporting materials they gave us. We pulled, I think it was 5 or 6, and we phone called them first and just basically said, hey, got a feel for, how are you thinking of doing this? Is it yourself? Out of those 6, we weeded it down to 3 that were multiple hunters and people that really kind of had a plan. That later fell to 2. Both of the final 2 were kind of groups of 4 that were interested in doing it. And ultimately we had an actual interview then with those final 2, and Ryan Van, I think it's Quick is how you pronounce it, is who kind of rose to the top. Their plan is to have, they got kind of 2 individuals that are going to be kind of their weekend crew. They've got a couple of individuals they think will be able to hunt during the week. They looked over all of the materials. They're familiar with some guiding outside of this, so they've got the time and kind of the expertise. So we felt comfortable with them, and our recommendation would be to, there is a slight increase in their per deer price, just based on what they believe they're going to need to put into it. But we recommend approval to them, and their application or their submittal was in the packet. $100 per deer is what they're offering, and they've already made contact with People's Meat Market, so it sounds like everything would be in motion. So ultimately, we're looking for approval if the committee would agree.
Any questions or comments? All right, being none. Also, I did follow up with the DNR and People's Meat Market after our last meeting, and we do qualify of having our venison process under the Hunters for Hungry program. So we will not be assessed any fee for the processing this year, which was up to about $125 a year. So we will be saving those funds. The availability of the venison should be about the same. They keep it within the county, and the Interfaith Food Pantry, which Mela is part of, is one of the main distribution areas. So overall, it should work out the same to the most part and save us in the city quite a bit of money. So being no other questions, can I have a motion to approve Ryan Van Gwyck and Scales and Tails Guide Service for the 2023-24 deer culling contract?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, discussion of the 2023-24 deer culling program logistics and training. So Scott is offered to assist, or I guess not assist, but take over completely, I guess, for the most part, on training our colors. Any more thoughts, or what your availability is, Scott, or how do you want us to handle this?
Availability would be codependent upon us putting together a program that reflects the interests of the city and of the committee, as well as the timing of availability of the colors. So I think it'd be useful to have, let's say, August through September to be able to pull that program together. And then we could be doing some training in September, October, something in that neighborhood. When do you envision the colors would start? Do you have an idea of that?
Sometime in October usually is the thought. Obviously, they don't want to hunt when we're 90 degrees outside, so it usually puts us later into October.
Yep. That's what I thought we had mentioned before. And I think we had talked before about a training sometime in mid to late September. And I think that should work. I have lots of obligations, a lot of things I would be doing in September, but we'll find a time.
Are you looking at like a weekend, evening? And if so, how many hours do you think you would need?
So I think that time depends a lot on the colors and depending upon how they work, their job schedules, things like that. I tend to work 7 days a week. So whether it's a weekend or during the week, that doesn't really bother me at all. We might just kind of push that out to the colors, but I would think it'd be valuable to have all of their personnel there. Ryan Van Quick, as well as his weekend colors and the people who are working during the week. I think that's the important part, is to have their entire team trained through the program.
Scott, I think they were saying when we talked to Ryan, he was ultimately saying if you wanted to, say, for example, either email him or call him, he could kind of make himself available based on your availability. So I think ultimately, I can get you his email address. That might be the quickest way. And if you send out some options to him, I think he would organize all of his folks. And then I know, John, you had talked about this too. I think Scott, you did as well. If that date gets finalized, it might make sense for us then to see if Lisa Kardash could stop in at that as well. Then she could talk about the DNR side. And then I know, John, you had referenced also maybe a People's Meat Market would send a, they could talk about the way they want the deer dropped off and the tagging process. And, all of those things can be, they could have small 15 or 20-minute segments as part of your training too, Scott, if that worked for you.
And also the warden would probably like to, I talked with him and he was interested in also getting to meet him and find out what's going on. So.
Was that Brian Lockman you're speaking of, John?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess, Scott, if you would be okay with it, maybe to connect the dots, I could send an email to Ryan, CC you in, I could CC John in too, and just say, hey, Ryan, I'm transitioning, connecting Scott to you. You're going to check availability with you. Once you two have that date set, maybe John and I could coordinate the Lisa Kardash part and maybe the warden part, so that's not another thing on your plate. And then, we could just tell them like, hey guys, you have a 15-minute window during this block, and you can cover your things, and then you could just give them that time, and you won't have to worry about those two moving pieces.
Okay, that'd be fine. Yep, we've added moving parts to it, so that'll make it a little more challenging to be able to get everyone there. It'd be great to be able to have diversity on the program like that. Keeps people up and on their feet as far as what's happening. So that all sounds good. Would one of you like to be able to be there as well to talk about the expectations as far as communication and reporting to the committee, or do you want me to handle that? And if that's the case, I'm actually going to have to study up with you to find out what the expectations are.
I think Dan or I can make either one. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think if we both. Yeah, I would agree. I would say if we both can be there, probably best. John's got historical knowledge, and I'll probably have more of the computer side of it now. So the goal would be for us both to be there, Scott.
Okay, that sounds fine. So in the end, I'm becoming a facilitator largely, and that's good. That's actually Extension's role in doing many programs like this. Is we facilitate, we bring the expertise in, we get, we coordinate things, but make sure the message gets across. And there's certainly, I've done these programs before, so there'll be different elements I'll talk about the hunting skills, increased efficiency, communicating with the individuals, with the public in general, and with the media.
Or is our intention to have this a Zoom meeting or in person, are you thinking?
My plan, I wasn't thinking of Zoom, I was thinking in person.
Okay, all right, very well.
What do you think? Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Oh, no, I'm fine with it either way. I guess my thought was, maybe Lisa, I believe, resides down in, southern Wood County, so I for a 15-minute visit, maybe via Zoom for her or whatever, these other people, might be a better practical thing for driving for an hour to speak for 10 minutes. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. We can make it Zoom available. We have rooms at the university that are all equipped to be able to do that, if that's fine with you. And I guess I personally would like to see the in-person participation by the colors and their staff.
Yeah, I agree.
That's important to have that personal connection with you, John, and Dan. They need to get to know you better, and this is a good way to do that. And we need to get to know them better too.
All right, so then, go ahead, Dan.
I think that's a great idea, and that's a good point. For those that are coming in, they're speaking for short term. If they want to hop on the call, that'd be fine, and everybody else could be in person.
And
Very well.
You can share that with Lisa and Brian then, that they could join by Zoom if they wish, but we want to have this as a face-to-face meeting as much as possible.
All right.
Hey, John, do you have the contact information for the warden?
I do. I can get it to you. I think it's on my phone.
Okay. So in terms of sequencing, then I think what we'll do is we'll connect Ryan and Scott and see if they can nail down their date, because that's the critical piece of the training. Then I think we invite the others. If they can make it, fantastic. If they can't, we can try to do something else. I guess what I want to avoid, though, is not planning just around, as long as the committee's okay with it, just around, say, the warden or something, because I think the main things is, like, Scott, what you're talking about, communication with the residents, the bookworking, the stuff that we can cover, and hopefully those other pieces are able to be a part of it. But if they can't, that still doesn't stop or, delay us from doing the main training.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Okay.
well.
That's what we'll do then. We'll get the date nailed down. Then we'll invite the others. If they can join, great. If they can't, we'll move on without that piece of it.
All right.
All right. Anything else about that?
I guess the only other thing I was going to ask John is, then given that once the training's done, typically we've not met until, after the season's kind of ended and recapped it. Is that what you're envisioning? Or are you thinking of something this fall yet?
I guess I'd like to meet once, maybe late October, early November. Just, these meetings are going for less than a half hour. If we could just meet one morning and just bring everybody up to date and run through any problems we might be having.
Yeah, I'd like to get an update at some point in later October, whenever, early November. I think that would be helpful.
Okay. I'm also, if the committee would like, I can, because we're going to have the colors kind of send the spreadsheet over a couple times a month, I'm happy to send out some updates as well. Because our intention is to have them write the parcel number that the deer's harvested, the date is harvested. So we should be able to give you some email updates. I think the meeting's still great idea, but I'll also kind of update you as we're going so you all can kind of see in real time, once a month maybe, where the numbers are at and where they're finding and harvesting them from.
No, I think that's a great idea. All right. That being said, any other comments or questions regarding the deer culling? All right. So we've talked about holding a meeting in October. We'll be in touch. I assume this time works well for people during the week.
Yep.
All right. Sorry, I missed somebody.
I said yes.
Okay. All right. That being said, can I get a motion for adjournment?
I will motion.
Second?
Second.
All right. All right. With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. Thank you for joining, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Hold on, guys.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.